Sridhar, Eliaz, Harshini, Chintan, Ambar. Thank you, folks. Yes, Harshini, you raised your hand.
Yes, can you hear me, Eliaz?
Yes, I can hear you, Harshini.
Okay, I had a question from yesterday's session. So, you were mentioning that in catalog we can create 3 types of schemas: system defined, user defined, and
No, we
application.
cannot create 3 types of schemas. We can create only custom defined schemas. As
Okay.
the installation, the system schemas comes along with the installation, and
Okay.
whenever we install the application top of SAP HANA, it will create one application related schema.
Okay. Okay. So, can you just show like how it creates an application on a schema like on top of HANA, like when you connect to any application?
I cannot show that, but because that is, I have to install a complete SAP BW, SAP ECC application. It will take
Okay.
hours of time.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So any application which is installed along with HANA, it would just show up
Yeah, it will show one
automatically.
Yes.
Or do we have to set up any configurations
No, you don't have to
in
set up
HANA?
any configuration. No, no,
Okay,
you don't have to set up any configuration.
okay, okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah, let's start today's class, folks. Then I can take your questions. Let's start today's class. So today's our class agenda is SAP HANA Studio. Yes, Vishnu?
Well, I was not able to hear. I could not hear you for a while. Now I can.
Okay, okay, thank you. Now can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Vishnu. Well, folks, I'm repeating, okay, I'm recapping yesterday's session, a quick recap, because there are 3-4 new students joined today. After the demo session, we started SAP HANA Studio. So in demo session, we discussed about what is SAP HANA, what is the necessity of a high performance analytical appliance like SAP HANA to enterprise, what is information explosion, as a result of information explosion, okay, what are the different challenges and consequences the enterprises are going through, and what are the different types of challenges they are facing, and how we can use SAP HANA in order to overcome all these challenges. Basically, SAP HANA is a high performance analytical appliance, is one of the solutions for the big data. Initially, SAP has given, okay, SAP has positioned SAP HANA as one of the solutions for the big data. Later on, from support pack 3 onwards, they have given database functionality also. Apart from using SAP HANA as a data mart as one of the solutions for the big data, we can use SAP HANA as underlying database for BW, as underlying database for ECC, CRM, and all. So SAP HANA appliance is available in 3 editions, basically, in Platform Edition, Enterprise Edition, and Extended Enterprise Edition. So in any edition, if you look at what are the components that comes along with these editions, in any one of these editions, the core component in SAP HANA appliance, or you can say heart of SAP HANA, is SAP HANA IMCE. So what is SAP HANA IMCE? In-memory computing engine, the current version is 1.0 with Service Pack 9. So IMC is nothing but SAP HANA database server. So this is SAP HANA IMC, in-memory computing engine. Well, the several components comes along with these editions. The components related to data provisioning, okay, the components related to SLT, the components related to Sybase replication server and all. After SAP HANA database, IMC, the next important component in any one of these editions of SAP HANA is SAP HANA Studio. See, SAP HANA Studio. SAP HANA Studio. So what is this SAP HANA Studio? What is the purpose of this SAP HANA Studio? And how different team members in HANA project can use this SAP HANA Studio in order to perform their respective activities. SAP HANA Studio is delivered in SAP HANA Appliance and provides an environment for administration, modeling, development, and data provisioning. It can be installed on your client workstation or on your local PC. For example, we install SAP HANA database. The SAP HANA database is up and running. In this project, there are several team members like HANA administrators, HANA developers, HANA modelers, HANA business users. So all these team members wants to connect to SAP HANA IMC in order to perform their respective activities. Like HANA administrator is responsible for all administration related activities. HANA developer, development activities. HANA modelers, modeling, creation of the information modelers, okay, creating information models and taking care of all other modeling activities. So what is the tool they are going to use in order to connect to this SAP HANA database is SAP HANA Studio. So SAP HANA Studio is a client tool provided by SAP in any edition of SAP HANA. This tool comes along with HANA Appliance. So once we install this client tool on your local workstation, okay, so the administrator will install this tool on your client workstations. It's very simple procedure. So once the time permits, in this course, I will show you how to install HANA Studio also on your client workstations. But at this point of time, you don't have to install. Once you connect to RDP, we already install SAP HANA Studio in your remote desktop connections. So using this tool, a client tool, these team members in the project, they can connect to SAP HANA database in order to perform their respective activities. Now what is this client tool? So what is the technology based on which this client tool is designed? As I said, this is a tool designed in Java. Basically, this is a Java Eclipse based tool. It's an Eclipse based platform, integrated development environment. When you start SAP HANA Studio for the first time, you can decide on several perspectives. What is a perspective in SAP HANA Studio is, suppose as a HANA administrator, I need SAP HANA Studio in a specific perspective, which facilitates more for administration activities. As a HANA modeler, I want to launch SAP HANA Studio in a specific perspective, which facilitates more towards modeling activities. So there are various perspectives that are available in SAP HANA Studio. So what are the perspectives? The perspectives are predefined user interface layouts or views for a specific application use. If you want to use SAP HANA Studio in modeling perspective, in admin perspective, in development perspective, if you look at various perspectives, modeler perspective is more towards modeling. It facilitates more for more creation of the modeling objects, creation of the information models, managing of information models, and other activities related to modeling. Whereas administration console is more towards administration of SAP HANA IMC. So the basically HANA administrators can use this administration perspective of SAP HANA Studio. Like development perspective, there are various perspectives. So whenever you start SAP HANA Studio for the first time, you don't find this HANA IMC added here. So once SAP HANA Studio is installed on your client workstation, start all programs, you will find a folder called SAP HANA. So under this folder, you will find this client tool. You can create a shortcut on your desktop. So this is welcome screen of SAP HANA Studio. Welcome screen is nothing but the initial screen of SAP HANA Studio. From welcome screen, as a team member working in HANA project, like you can be a HANA developer, HANA molder, HANA administrator, okay, you can launch this SAP HANA Studio in one of the perspective, okay, related to your day-to-day activities. Suppose as a molder, I want to launch SAP HANA Studio in modeling perspective. So once you launch SAP HANA Studio in admin perspective or in modeling perspective, on the left hand side, this pane, this is called system view. What is system view is? System view is a pane, is a window where we can add one or more systems. Here the system is nothing but SAP HANA database, SAP HANA database server, SAP HANA IMC. In order to add the systems to the system view, there are two options. One is we can add system manually. Second one is we can add, okay, the systems using XML file also. Suppose if you have one system, so this is a sandbox environment, we have only one system to be added. So in that case, you can add manually. Otherwise, if you want to add the complete system landscape of SAP HANA at client side, like HANA development, HANA testing, HANA production environment. To the system view in SAP HANA Studio, you can add more than one system. There are no restrictions. So how to add the system manually? Here we have two options in order to add the system manually. First one is you can directly add the system, right click, add the system, or you can create a folder. Under the folder you can add the system. So right click, add the system. In order to add the system to the system view, there are some parameters you required. You can get these parameters, okay, this information from concerned person from the team. Basically, administrator will provide all these details. So what is the information we required is First, we require host name of SAP HANA IMC or SAP HANA database. Then instance number. So what is single container, multiple containers? We'll see later on. Single host configuration, multi-host configuration. And select the language. Then click on next. In order to add HANA system to the system view, we need one valid database user. One valid HANA database user. So initially you guys can use system provided by service provider. Later on, I will show you how to create your own users, and using your own users, you can add the systems to a system view. It's too early to show you how to create the users, how to assign the roles to the users and all. Initially, we'll practice with system. Later on, I will show you how to create your own users. Now you can see the system is added to the system view. This is the system. The second option is, this is the manually added the system to the system view. Now, I don't want to add the system manually. I want to add the complete system landscape. Complete system landscape. In order to add the complete system landscape, the administrator will provide one XML file. This XML file consists of all the system landscape information. So the host name of development, everything. Then how to add the complete HANA landscape, which is in XML file is file, import, SAP HANA, expand SAP HANA folder. Now you can see landscape. So I want to add the complete HANA landscape to the system view. Means more than one system. Select your XML file provided by administrator. As of now, we are dealing with only one HANA sandbox because this is a training environment. That is the reason I cannot show you using the XML file. So select your XML file, just click on open. It will add the systems. So you can add the system to the system view in only two perspectives. One is modeling perspective, second one is administration perspective. You can see there are several perspectives. See, there are several perspectives. In any, apart from HANA development and HANA modeling and HANA admin perspective, you cannot add the system to system view other than these two perspectives. For example, take HANA development perspective. See, we cannot add BW modeling. It's a different concept altogether. To connect to the BW system, to create the composite providers and all. Yeah, any questions, folks, up to this point of time? How to launch SAP HANA Studio? What is welcome screen of SAP HANA Studio? What is a perspective in SAP HANA Studio? And how to add the system to system view? You guys can raise your hand. Sridhar is asking one question, right? Sridhar?
Eliaz, this is not about, on this topic. Yesterday, when you have given the session, you were showing that, HANA database which was using for BW. There's one question, when we are using HANA BW, I think, I mean, the assumption is we can use the BW screens as it is, that is RS7. From RS7 we can.
Yeah. Only underlying database is SAP HANA.
Correct.
Same,
Correct.
you use the RS7, everything same.
Correct.
Load the
So
data,
in that case, yeah. In that case, do we need still to use HANA Studio for the modeling?
Well, HANA Studio for modeling only to create composite providers and transient providers, not to create every type of info provider. So, okay, BW Studio of SAP HANA Studio facilitates consumption of HANA information models in BW by creating the composite providers. So, to create the composite providers only, we'll use BW modeling, not to create all other objects like HANA optimized info cube, HANA optimized DSOs and all.
Okay.
Create composite providers. I will show you how to create the composite providers using BW modeling of SAP HANA Studio perspective. Okay. So once we cover BW with HANA part, that will be more clear. I will show you what exactly that purpose, how to create the composite providers and all. Okay.
Okay.
So before, in order to create composite providers, even we have to log into SAP BW server. There is a transaction code to create composite providers, transient providers. Okay, all these info providers will create. These type of info providers will create in order to consume HANA views in BW. But from Service Pack 7 onwards, SAP has given a new perspective in SAP HANA Studio, that is modeling, BW modeling, using complete graphical user interface environment. You can design the composite providers. So you don't have to use a transaction code, okay, to go to SAP BW system to create composite providers. Okay, this is only specific to create composite provider. Still, in order to design your data flows, in order to design your complete end-to-end data flows, complex data flows, in order to write the transformations, creation of process chains, creation of the multi-providers, creation of the info sets, still you have to go to RSA1, data warehousing workbench, in order to create all those objects. So BW with modeling is very specific for composite providers. Okay. So once the system has been added, so if you want to know, okay, the details about this system, means here system in the sense SAP HANA IMC. So place the cursor on IMC, click on Administration Console. So the Administration Console consists of various tabs in which you will find relevant information about SAP HANA database. Like in Overview tab, so at this point of time I will be giving a high-level overview. Basically this information, most of this information is required for HANA administrators. Okay. At the same time, in coming sessions, suppose in order to understand some performance, in order to understand landscape, in order to understand volumes, we need some more topics to be covered. In order to understand the volumes, landscape, we need to cover HANA architecture. Then only you can understand these tabs. So in order to cover the diagnosis files, we need some more concepts to be covered. So as we move on, once we cover the prerequisites which are required to understand these various tabs, again I will be touch base with these topics. But at this point of time, this is our hardly second class. So what I will do is quickly I will give a high level overview of each and every tab. Well, in the Overview tab, you will find the relevant information, very general information about SAP HANA, like all services are started and HANA, this is a version. So the one I logged in, HANA 1.0 Service Pack 8. Now let me log into Service Pack 9. So how to find out the version of SAP HANA? No, it's not working. Okay. Once the sandbox is up and running, then I will show you support. So it's not connecting. Now you can see, okay, the version of SAP HANA, what is the operating system on which this HANA is installed? SUSE Linux. SAP HANA supports only one operating system. You can install SAP HANA database on only one OS. The OS is SUSE Linux. Enterprise Desktop 11.3. And what is the memory? Again, we have different types of memory: resident memory, CPU usage, used memory, and the disk usage. So we'll talk about this. Okay, what is this disk usage? What is the purpose of storing the data on a non-volatile media like the storage? How the system will recover the data in case of power failure, in case of system reboot? Because HANA is a in-memory database. The complete data resides in the RAM. RAM is a volatile. It's a flash memory, right? So you can see the alerts. Alerts means alerts are very important for HANA administrators. So based on these alerts, the HANA administrators can take timely actions for smooth up and running of this database. Again, here we have three types of alerts: alerts with high priority, alerts with medium priority, alerts with low priority. And if you want to see the alerts, it will directly go to the alerts tab if you click on alerts. And if you double click on a specific alert, it will give the complete information about this alert. Landscape. In landscape, you can see all the services that HANA IMC consists of. So every service is responsible for a specific functionality. Among all these services, the index server is very important. So in tomorrow's class, we'll start HANA architecture. In HANA database architecture, we'll see what is index server, what is the architecture of index server, how it holds the data in the main memory, and how it executes all the operations. So not only index server, well, it's very important. The main one is index server. Apart from the index server, like we have the statistics server, preprocessor, every service is responsible for a specific functionality. Now you can see all the services are active and up and running. The database service, the database is up and running. All the services are started. So HANA database is running, up and running. Now you can see the green button here. Performance. We'll talk about the performance later on. Volumes. As I said, the complete data resides in the main memory. As long as the complete data resides in the main memory, and main memory is a volatile, it's a flash memory, RAM. So in order to implement the data safety, the persistence layer will insert the data from relational stores to a disk storage. So you can see what are the service that holds the data. They need a disk association, or they need a volatile, non-volatile media association, so that in case of power outage, in case of system reboot, we can get back the data in RAM again. We can provide the data for the business purposes. Configuration. In configuration, so volumes we'll see detail in tomorrow's class in HANA architecture. Configuration. In configuration, there are set of INI files, initialization files. HANA administrator will set initial parameters like settings related to countries, settings related to time zones, settings related to currency codes, so many other, what are the general settings that are required. Apart from the settings, global filters, global settings, and if we are using different tools in SAP HANA environment, in SAP HANA project. If you look at SAP HANA architecture, really HANA architecture is very vast. So many tools will interact with SAP HANA. See here? So many tools. Business objects for reporting purpose, data services to load the data in ETL based approach, SLT for real-time replication. So many tools and technologies will interact with SAP HANA for data provisioning, for modeling, for reporting. If any tool and technology required a specific configuration to be set with SAP HANA database, so we'll set all those parameters in corresponding INI files. But the setting of the complete system landscape and setting up these parameters relevant to external tools or external technologies that interact with SAP HANA, this is the complete HANA administrator job. System information. System information consists of a bunch of database tables, and the information from this table is very important for HANA administrators. For example, as a HANA administrator, I want to see what are the failed backups since last 1 week. So it will store the complete failed backup information. Backup catalog, caches, okay, lock waiting history, record log, session context, okay, session, size of tables at disk. Okay, there are so many tables it consists of, and all this table consists of only information related to administrator, not for molder, not for developers. Diagnosis files. In diagnosis files, here you will find a set of diagnosis files. Files with extension TRC, files with extension log, log file, okay. So this file consists of information to diagnose for a specific problem in the troubleshooting process, to find out the root cause of the problem. So HANA administrators will go to these corresponding files and they can get the information, okay, how to diagnose a specific problem, for troubleshooting, to finding out the root cause of the problem, okay, all this. And trace configuration. In trace configuration, SAP HANA supports various types of traces, like database trace, okay, user specific trace, SQL trace, performance trace, expensive statements trace, end-to-end traces. So the HANA administrator can activate any one of these traces that are required for project requirements and project needs. If you take an example of expensive statement trace, as a HANA administrator, I want to track all expensive statements that are lasting longer than expected time, expected threshold values, so that I can track, okay, who is running these expensive statement trace. Accordingly, I can take the action. So whenever for smooth up and running of the database, we need, okay, some things to be tracked so that we can find out, okay, what's going on, who is responsible for all these activities and all. If the expensive statement is active, all the statements that is last longer than the specified threshold value are traced. You can analyze the results on the performance tab under expensive statement trace. So it will create a corresponding trace file in performance tab. At the same time, if I want to track, okay, into user specific trace. So if you want to track a specific user, then you can activate this, okay, this trace. End-to-end traces, database trace, SQL trace, like this. There are various traces in SAP HANA database. You don't have to activate all the traces. The traces that are required for administration purposes and for business purposes, the administrator can track, okay, can activate only those traces. This is a very high level overview. I know, okay, most of things are not clear, but as we move on, okay, we have to, because at this point of time, in order to explain the volumes, I cannot start explaining all the way the database architecture, right? So once we completed Studio, we are going step by step. Then we'll start architecture. Then I will come back to a specific tab. Then I will explain like this. Once we covered a specific prerequisite topic, which is required to understand, okay, these specific tabs, then again we will come back. I will be touch base, okay, with these tabs. Well, any questions, folks? Now, if you look at the various service packages of HANA, first public release of SAP HANA is SAP HANA 1.0 Service Pack 0, that is November 2010. Then Service Pack 1, Service Pack 2, okay, Service Pack 3, Service Pack 4, up to Service Pack 3. Once you expand, the system once the system has been added to the system view, once you expand the system, you'll find only two folders. One is catalog, second one is content. Because we are in support pack 9, that is the reason there are 5 folders you can see underneath of this HANA IMC. But up to support pack 3, only 2 folders, catalog and content. So what is catalog? What exactly the catalog consists of? In SAP HANA, though SAP HANA is an immutable database, it's a RDBMS. Like how we can create different database objects in other traditional databases. Here also we can create, okay, all those database objects. Database objects like tables, views, triggers, functions, procedures, synonyms. But in order to create any database object, first we have to create a schema in SAP HANA database. What is schema? The same concept of schema when comparing with traditional databases. Schema, where we can group a set of logically related database objects. If you expand the catalog, now you can see all these are schemas in SAP HANA database. All these are the schemas. Well, if you expand one schema, this is schema content. Now you can see the schema content, column views, ERP, EPM models. We'll see what is EPM model. EPM query sources, functions, indexes, procedures, sequences, synonyms, tables, triggers, view. This is called a schema content. See, this is schema content. Well, under catalog, you will find 3 types of schemas. First one is system defined schemas. What is system defined schema? Once we install SAP HANA database, there are some default schemas or the system schemas comes along with the installation. So how to identify the system schemas, the system defined schemas under catalog is any schema starts with _sys. See, all these are system defined schemas. So what is the purpose of these schemas? Okay, we'll talk about these schemas and all in coming sessions. Second one is user defined schemas. So what is a user defined schema is? A client is implementing SAP HANA as a data mart or SAP HANA as one of the solutions for the big data. Up to HANA 1.0 Service Pack 2, HANA can be used as a data mart only. So you will see all data mart functions. Means initially SAP has positioned SAP HANA as one of the solutions for the big data. Well, whenever a client is using SAP HANA as a data mart in a sidecar approach, HANA as a secondary database, there are 3 stages in the project. First, we'll install SAP HANA database. Then we'll suppose in order to store my big data, so there are from various source systems, the data in the client landscape okay, spread across in various source systems in different formats in different geographical locations. Now we have to load the data from different source system to SAP HANA. So whenever we are loading the data from different source system to SAP HANA, how we'll store the data in SAP HANA? In form of tables. Well, in order to load the data from different source system to SAP HANA, well, we need 10,000 tables or 20,000 tables in SAP HANA. So as per our organizing mechanism, we can create these tables in appropriate schemas. So in order to create these tables along with other database content, first we have to create the schemas. Those are nothing but user-defined schema. So the way how the client is implementing SAP HANA, okay, SAP HANA has a data mart, okay. So the client can create n number of user-defined schemas under catalog to store their big data, to store the data from various source systems in SAP HANA. Those are nothing but user-defined schemas, custom-defined schemas. So how to create a custom-defined schema is, place the cursor on IMC, open SQL console. So there is no graphical user interface to create the schema. Just we have to execute a simple create statement. Create schema, schema name. So once, if you want to execute any SQL query in, okay, from SQL console, once, okay, you have the SQL query in the SQL console, these are execute button. Now you can see the schema Y test23 is created. So you cannot create a schema, okay, with the same name. If the system already exists, if the schema already exists, so it will give an error. So I was trying to create Y test2, then it was giving error. Okay, the schema with this name already exists. Then I changed the name to 23. Now in this schema, as per the data storage needs of a client, before loading the data, we can create tables, okay, we can, okay, import the metadata. There are various options, okay, how we can import the tables, table structures, okay, how to create the tables. We'll see, okay, we'll cover those in our data provisioning process. So the bottom line is, you cannot create any database object without creating the schema. First you have to create the schema, because in SAP HANA, any database object has to associate with a specific schema. Every database object is uniquely identified along with schema name. See how this table is identified along with the schema name. What is the schema name? A11. Schema name dot table name. Well, this table does not consist of data. If the table consists of the data, it will show you the complete data. Now this table also. So before creation of any database object in SAP HANA database, make sure you have to create appropriate schemas. So the third type of schema that exists in the catalog is, along with system and user defined schema, application schemas. what are application schemas, huh? Up to HANA 1.0 Service Pack 2, HANA cannot be used as an underlying database for any application like BW or SAP CC or SAP CRM. It does not support. Only HANA can be used as a secondary database in a sidecar approach, or HANA as a data mart. We can design the tables in appropriate schemas, load the data, okay, data provisioning, modeling and reporting using SAP BOBI 4.0, 4.1. When SAP released HANA 1.0 Service Pack 3, in November 7, 2011, along with data mart functionality, HANA supports one more functionality. So HANA can be used as an underlying database for BW. BW, Business Information Warehouse, it's a MOLAP application from SAP, also named as Project Orange. So once the BW is installed on top of SAP HANA, then in later support packs, HANA can be used as underlying database not only for BW, for SAP ECC, for SAP CRM also. HANA can be used as underlying database SAP ECC, SAP CRM also. Well, we'll take the example of BW because we have BW installed on top of this database. So whenever we are creating any objects in BW, okay, whenever, okay, if you are creating HANA optimized info cubes, HANA optimized DSOs, all the tables of corresponding objects of BW will be created in only one schema. So that schema will be created in SAP HANA database as a part of installation. So just I type to create schema name. Like I cannot create a schema in SAP HANA related to a application because whenever we are installing this ABAP stack, then the schema will be created in SAP HANA database. How the system will create the schema? What are the naming conventions the system will follow to create the schema related to that application is SAP host name of application. Suppose the host name of BW I have given BW4. As a BW, okay, basis consultant I have given host name is BW4. So what is the schema it will create in SAP HANA database as a part of the installation? SAP BW4. Suppose this is SAP CRM. SAP CRM we install on top of SAP HANA. So the host name of CRM is CRM4 or CRM7. Then SAP CRM7. This is a schema that will be created in HANA database that pertaining to that specific application. See here you can see the host name is BW4. So what is the system, the schema created in HANA database? See that the underlying database for this BW is HDB, HANA database. This is the host name. Sorry, this is the host name. Okay, the schema is SAP BW4. So this is a schema for BW. You can see all these are the tables of BW. So whenever you create any object of BW, starting from info object, HANA optimized cube, HANA optimized DSOs and all, corresponding tables will be created here. When you load the data, the data will be loaded into these tables. The data resides in these tables. Any questions in catalog? The next important folder is content. What is catalog? Sorry, what is content? What exactly the content consists of? Okay, so whenever a client is implementing SAP HANA project and they are using in that project SAP HANA as a data mart. So whenever we are using SAP HANA as a data mart, in that project there are 3 stages. First one is after installation of SAP HANA database, after the initial configuration of SAP HANA database, we'll create the schemas, we'll create corresponding tables, and we will load the data from different source system to corresponding tables in SAP HANA database. The big data, okay, real-time data, using various data provisioning methods. So SAP has given various data provisioning methods to load the data from different source system to SAP HANA. So the data loading from various source system to SAP HANA is nothing but data provisioning here. Data provisioning is the appropriate word given by SAP for data loading. Once the data has been loaded to HANA tables or the real-time replication is going on to the tables in SAP HANA database, the second stage is using those tables we'll design information models. So what are information models? Information models are nothing but modeling objects in order to facilitate our reporting needs. So what are the information models? These are nothing but modeling objects in order to facilitate, in order to accomplish the client reporting needs. So this is catalog. So catalog consists of schemas, schemas consists of database tables. So in these database tables, the data physically resides. So in the content folder, we'll create packages like info areas in BW. So to group the related information models. In packages, using these database tables, we'll create modeling objects. So what are the different types of modeling objects? Are information models. Those are called information models. What is information model? Information model is an object which facilitates our reporting needs. Using these tables, we'll create information models like attribute views, analytical views, calculation views, attribute views, analytical views, okay, calculation views, analytical privileges, decision tables, procedures, different types of information models. What is an attribute view? So in the modeling, I will give you a brief introduction to the multidimensional modeling. Okay, what is a multidimensional model? What is a multidimensional report? We'll start the basics of modeling in the modeling sessions. Just what exactly information model? Say in multidimensional model, we have a fact table surrounded by dimension tables. So in order to facilitate multidimensional report, we'll design, okay, star schemas. In star schemas, these are the dimension tables, okay, and we'll connect the dimension table to a central fact table for facilitating multidimensional reports. Basically, this is nothing but a cube concept, multidimensional object, info cube. A cube consists of information for facilitating multidimensional reports. Attribute views are nothing but dimensions. I'm not going in depth of modeling at this point of time. This is only SAP HANA Studio lesson, just to understand what exactly the information a package consists of. I'm giving very high level overview. So all these are the dimensions. Well, in order to create these dimensions also, we require the database tables. So in order to create this dimension, I'm using two database tables. One is Mara, from which schema SAP underscore ECC, and there is another table MAKT. This is also from SAP ECC schema. So what I mean to say is, what are the base objects we require to create these information models are database tables. Analytical view, star schema concept. Fact tables surrounded by dimensions. See, this is a star schema concept. A multi-dimensional object for multi-dimensional reports. See, these are fact table connected with different dimensions. So calculation views, to combine the data from various other analytical views like multi-providers and info sets in BW to facilitate very complex reporting requirements. So we'll use all these information models in SAP BOBI reporting tools for report generation. We can consume these information models in SAP BOBI reporting tools. So we'll design all these models using a tool called SAP HANA Studio using model perspective. Then we can consume these information models in SAP BOBI 4.0, 4.1 reporting tools. So the content consists of different packages. Again, in packages, we can create information models using these database tables in order to facilitate our reporting needs. Now the question is, why all these information models ends with view? All these information models ends with view because these are views. So whenever you create any information model, behind the scene, the system will generate a view. Well, why SAP came up with this approach? Suppose in catalog, we have schemas, we have database tables. So these are the objects which holds the data physically. Only database tables in SAP HANA database which holds the data physically. Let us assume, in order to facilitate my reporting requirements using these tables, I am creating one information model. that information model also contains the data physically. Suppose using this database table, this is a KNA1 customer master table. Using this table, I created the customer dimension, one information model, customer dimension. If this customer dimension also consists of the data physically, then what is the drawback? What is the disadvantage here? The data redundancy. So the data is here as well as the data is also here. The data is redundant. In order to avoid this data redundancy, so using these tables, whenever you create any information model, then the system will generate one view behind the scene. So whenever you are selecting any information model for reporting purpose, basically the reporting will be done on top of a view. Now the question is, in which schema the system will create the views? Okay, the views for these information models. So once you activate this information model, this is activation. Once the activation is completed, the system will generate a view in one system defined schema. The name of the system defined schema is _SYS_BIC. Because view is a database object. Any database object has to be created in schema only. So we'll see what is column views, okay, and all. Now all these are the views generated for corresponding information models. How the system will generate a view is, the system will generate a view, first package name / information model name, and the view generated for analytical view, you can see an info cube icon here. The tables are deleted for this. Now you can see. So this is a column view generated for that analytical view. So how to identify the view name? See the column view. And if you right click, open the giant viewer, and it will show you how many tables involved in this view, what are the fields that are taken from each and every table. See, these are the giant view. So these many tables, based on these many tables, this view has been created. Any questions, folks? Don't worry about the information and models, because in modeling we'll cover in depth. But at this point of time, I have to explain what is content, what are the packages, a high level overview as a part of SAP HANA Studio lesson. Yes, Eliaz?
Hi, Eliaz. I was wondering, would you be uploading these recordings on the video recordings pretty soon?
Yes, we will create a blog, and in that blog we'll upload all the video recordings.
Okay, thanks.
Tomorrow we'll upload, or by the end of today also we'll upload. Okay, folks. So I will stop here today. Tomorrow we'll continue with 1 hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, okay, topics are left in SAP HANA Studio. Tomorrow's our class agenda is SAP HANA architecture. But tomorrow I will make sure everyone got the blog access, the materials, and the sandbox access. Because from tomorrow onwards I will be posting the assignments. In SAP HANA Studio we have the assignments, okay. In SAP HANA Basics, SAP HANA Positioning, okay, SAP HANA Basics, we have one quiz, one sample certification exam. So all these assignments will be posted in the blog. And once we started the data provisioning, so we have so many rigorous assignments using business object data services, using SLT. Okay, so make sure by tomorrow I will make sure everyone, okay, got the access for the sandbox as well as the blog access. Good night, everyone.